In our Android Basics section this week, it's all about the App Drawer, an important part of the Android operating system. And I'm going to pass us over to Warren, who can talk to us a little bit about the history of app drawers and where we are now. And then we'll have some demos. Warren.
The app drawer, or the apps list, or whatever you want to call it. It is a very important part of our Android experience, whether you like it or not. This is what I call the home of the apps. Every single app that we install on the Play Store resides within the app drawer. And let's talk about the fact that it did not start with Android. When we look back on the history of the mobile phone, going back to our Symbian days and the Windows phones, they all had their own implementation of the app drawer in one way or the other. Does anyone remember what it was like on a Symbian phone? You have to go into that menu and then go into something called, was it application or was it apps and all of that? Fee, you remember that?
I do. I remember it very well. Loved Symbian phones. I still have some. Don't use them anymore, but I've still got them.
You still have some. I like that museum of yours. I wish I had one. I don't have any more Symbian phones. No, I take that back. I probably have one. I don't remember what it is. But so the question of Apps Drawer is not something that got started with the Android phone. It started way back before us, and I'm glad they kept that, even though the implementation is a little bit different. From the home screen, one could access his or her apps drawer. Was it a possibility back in the day with Symbian to create a shortcut? I know that we could create shortcuts to apps and things like that on the Symbian that we place on the home screen. But was it a possibility? I never tried to create the shortcut to the apps drawer on the Symbian. Was that a possibility? Any of you guys remember?
Don't know. I don't remember.
I don't think it was possible, was it?
I wouldn't like to say either way.
It was not possible, but on Symbian, what was there is there was key 1 and key 2. So there was 2 keys at the extreme, one left side, one right side, and you could program those keys to open some app that you want.
Yeah, that you used a lot. That's right. And then after a while, you could program the joypad keys to do that as well. So quite often, if you press the center of the joypad, it would open contacts. And if I remember, if I pressed the left arrow of the joypad from the home screen, it would open a new message and things like that. All very geeky stuff. I loved it. But after a while, I think they did have a sort of home screen where you could. I used to stick to the older version with the joypad and stuff, but there was a newer home screen where you could have your apps and move them around, I think.
Yeah, but so what I was thinking about was the fact that, in those days, you could actually add something to the home screen, maybe the Bluetooth or maybe the settings or whatever you could choose to make it go to the home screen. But I wasn't sure that one could actually bring the folder of the apps to the home screen like we have. But so we have come a long way from those days and into Windows. And now on Android, I remember the first time that I started with Android phones and looking at that history of it and the Apps Drawer, it hasn't quite changed, has it? Except that earlier on, the pages were arranged as what we have on the home screen, meaning you can move from left to right. We didn't have that vertical arrangement. Does anyone remember when the vertical arrangement of the App Store got introduced? I want to say maybe Nougat, but I'm not sure. Austin, do you remember when we got the vertical arrangement?
I think the ice-free shell from the Android 2.3 days had that somewhat vertical arrangement. But then the pages structure came in Android 7.
Yeah, so natively, it didn't come through till like Android 7, right? Because prior till now, it was like the Samsung phones, and I'm not sure if the Samsung phones still have, where you have to, scroll left and right just like one would on the home screen. I know that my old Galaxy S8 still has that horizontal, arrangement whereby you're not scrolling up and down through the home, the App Store to find your apps, but you go left and right. Is that still true? Doug, you have the Galaxy
Yes.
S20 FE.
So I'm actually just looking. I know by default you have the left to right swipes. I think you can navigate vertically, but I'm not 100%.
No, I don't know. We're phone twins. We've both got the same phone.
Yeah, you guys have the same phone. So I think maybe Samsung still has that, horizontal
Yeah,
arrangement whereby if you are in the apps drawer,
it's definitely in left to right.
yeah. So do you guys prefer the left to right or the vertical? I know that when it first got introduced, it was a little bit of a confusion there. And it's one of the inconsistencies that Google does. You're used to something and then they change it on you. And so when they got this introduced, I know it was a love-hate relationship. Some people love it and some didn't. Now, I happen to be one of those that I kind of actually just like that one scrolling, that vertical scrolling, as to hearing my screen reader says page 5 of 15 or page 5 of 25 based on how many apps you have. So I just like that whole idea of you just scrolling up and down. Do you guys, which one do you prefer?
For me, it really doesn't matter too much because I put all of my stuff into folders anyway. So for me, most of the time, it ends up just all being on one screen. So if it was a case of being in subfolders, I definitely would prefer the up-down scrolling. But as for the main app drawer, I'm pretty flexible. I've had phones going both ways, so it doesn't really matter too much.
But so this is something that has been with us for quite a while, and I think I like that vertical arrangement, and some people prefer going from left to right. Now, with the Samsung devices, there's one thing that I think Samsung has right. You can actually organize things into folders even in the apps drawer. Is that true? Or
Yes.
you could arrange things in categories. For instance, where multimedia apps, go in a particular area and all of that. And I wish we have that on the Pixel phones. We do not have that.
That is the number one feature I love with the Samsung, because it makes finding your apps 10 times easier because you know exactly where you've put them.
Exactly.
So you have all yours in folders, do you then? You make
God,
folders like for different types of apps, like travel or whatever? Or...
God, yeah. Like right now on my screen, I've got 15, I've got about 16 folders on my home screen. And most of them have a minimum of 5 apps. So it just makes it so much easier to find what I'm looking for.
I'm just imagining it as a drawer full of apps now. That's a bit messy, and some of them are right at the bottom and you can't find.
Exactly. So that drawer of yours there has a bunch of apps. Now and then you need to go in there and shake a little bit loose, huh?
Yeah. I think I've got multiple drawers because I've got multiple pages here. So I must have.
I'm not going to comment on Fee's drawers. That's
oh no!
Oh my! Oh my! Oh my!
Should we go back to apps and stuff?
I love you guys.
In terms of vertical and horizontal drawers, I just want mine in a grid. Really, I don't want vertical or horizontal. I want both.
Oh. You want a grid, huh? Well,
yeah. My app drawer is a grid.